if you can tolerate it, we're going to jump right into opening up the fronts of the legs. This is that part that is a little tight for some of us and sometimes tight all the time by sitting this way on your knees and then sitting back, right? And I'm sitting on my block. If that's too much for you, then you can add extra support up underneath here by putting your pillow or something else there, and or just don't do that. Good. And bring your hands to your knees. Do a couple seated cat cows here. So little couple seated cat cows rounding through your chest. Big breath in, and then exhale, open up through your collarbone, lift your chin. Let's just put our life, our motion on pause, on slow-mo for a couple minutes here. So just slow your track down. Move through this seated cat-cow, intentionally slower than maybe what your intuitive pace would be. So if you were dragging that time to a slow motion, a better opportunity to connect with your breath this way. Do it in a way that just feels natural to you, so a breath that coordinates with your movements. And then let's all come to that rounded back. So this is cat pose in your seat, hands to your knees if they'll get there, otherwise to your thighs. Pull your chin to chest, really round your shoulders forward, push out through your back. Stay here for just a second, opening up from your spine all the way to your lower ribs. Take a breath in, and then move on your exhale and open up like you're really blooming up. Maybe your legs come a little bit wider. Some of you might even take your hands back behind you to the floor, tenting your fingers, really opening up here, pushing your chest forward, pulling your shoulder blades back and down. And just be careful you're not just throwing your neck back. I've got my gaze kind of forward and up so that I'm protecting that line through the back of the neck, but I get that good opening through shoulders and hips. Stay here for one more breath, a little bit slow motion. Good, and then bring yourself back to center. Line up your knees again. If you're in pain from sitting this way and it's too much, you can change to sitting cross-legged. If you're okay, then try this staying here. We're gonna take right hand to the floor, bend your right elbow, reach your left arm up and over. And now some of you might like to see what it's like to take this right hand a little bit more away from you and then bend the elbow. Keep your left hip grounded. Draw really long through your left armpit, but energetically push your left hip down like it's going to go to the floor. Good. Now use this line of energy through your left hand to reach and then lift. And then gently bring your left hand to the floor. Find that grounding, all 5 fingers pressing down here, and then reach long through your right hand. Let's start right there where you're close to your body. Get the length, and then you can make that little adjustment, seeing if you can keep the length on your right side. This right hip is pulling down as your left hand might creep away from your body. Good. Soften your left elbow as much as you can. Reach through your right arm. Nice. All right. From the tip of your middle finger of your right hand, that's your like lifting point. Lift up and over, back to center. Good. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Draw those shoulders down and back. Good. Now start to drop your chest forward, keeping that nice flat back. Some of you are going to be able to go all the way to the floor. Hips might lift a little bit. Some of you are going to need to release your hands. Some of you might say, it might be nice if I had that pillow or something else underneath my head if it's not right now. I liked the other day, Chris was using his roller as a prop. That's a good idea. You can always grab anything you've got that kind of brings the floor closer to you. Take those arm bones together. Take a big breath. Good. Now, everybody release your hands if you haven't already. And just slide those forward so we're in a supported child's pose. Same position. Block is up underneath your seat. You may or may not have contact with it, but drop your armpits to the floor. Drop your head to the floor. Okay, and that's energetically, not necessarily literally. Nice. Roll your forehead a little bit side to side. Good. Walk your hands back to your knees. And rise up off of your block. Let's gently warm up our back. And then while we're still here on our knees, we're going to move to camel. So keep your block nearby. But just bring yourself to bring hands and knees tabletop. Because now you're not seated, you can start to activate through the hips and your low back, moving around a little bit. So wag your tail, see what feels good here as you can just find a little movement to help you open up. Maybe it's a cat-cow, arching and bending. Maybe it's just circles of hips to heels. It's part of your gift of showing up on the mat to get to that place where you just start to move to do what feels right for you, what feels good. Letting the teacher be your guide and kind of the suggestion, but you're exploring where you are. Good. Let's take one downward facing dog to open up the backs of the leg and the back. So move very slowly. Bring your knees in line. Press through your hands. And lift up and back. Try to get a straighter leg today. So if that means you need to walk your feet in closer to get a little bit, you can still have a softness in your knees, but rather than having a real dramatic bend, just shorten up your V space. Can you drop your head, let that head hang? It has nothing to do with heels towards the floor. It's more just feeling the length through the backs of your legs in that V shape. Good. All right, belly tight. Let's lower back down to your knees and come all the way up so you're standing on your knees. Grab your block. Let's start by putting the block between your knees. All right, just to have an anchor. We're going to just move through our progression of camel for a bit of time to really open up through your back. So even if you have the ability to go to a more advanced back bend, stay with me in like the progression until we get warmed up. So block between your knees, hands on your waist, thumbs reaching in towards the center of your spine. And just start here, starting to rock your hips forward as you rock your shoulders back. And then kind of find a place where you're like, all right, I'm pulling the roots up out of the ground here and I'm going to just stop. If it's okay for you to relax your head, you can. But if you have some issues there, draw your chin a little bit more towards your chest. Just focus on the hip and upper back opening here. Good. Can you lift through your ribs so you open a little bit through here? Good. All right, zip up through your middle and come back up to center. And then we take the counter pose, which is like a quick child's pose. I still got the block there, so I'm just working around it, dropping hips to heels, reaching forward. All right, so being easy with the hinge motion. Good. All right, bring your hands back to center, lift back up. All right, this time, option to move the block, let's put it by your left ankle. You have different heights, so the highest height will give you the most support. All right, put your left hand on that block, start to lean back, feel the left shoulder align with wrist, and then let your right arm just be a way to open the front of your body. As if I've got hooks on your hip bones, pull your hip bones forward. Really nice form, guys. Really nice. Reach up. This energy for reaching comes from your right hand because the left hand is really steady and the hip bones are just opening forward. Releasing through your back, knees steady. Yes. Good. Take a full breath here. Full breath in, full breath out. You should feel this through the fronts of your legs as well as the back. All right, now reach, come straight up, and then right yourself. Use those core muscles. And here's your counter pose. Drop hips to heels. Drop your head to the floor. You might enjoy in this counter pose taking your hands behind your back, just doing a little stretch here, or they can rest on the ground. Good. Push yourself back up. Bring your block to the other side. So now it's by your right heel. Lift your shoulders up and back. That's automatically going to broaden your chest, give you more space, all right, to lift and bend. So think of this. If your ribs are compressed with your hips, I'm sunk in here. How am I going to bend back? I'm just pulling through the whole front of my body. So you got to lift. And now I've got like airspace between the waist and the ribs. And now I have more room to bend back. So create that airspace. Lift up and down. All right. Now right hand to the outer right ankle on your block. Get a straight line but in your right arm. So check in here and then no need to rush. Take your left arm up and then start to really create that space. So the ribs are lifting, pulling up and back. Hip bones pull forward. Your left arm is not doing the work. It's just helping you to open. Good. And then you get there and then there's this opportunity just to make this subtle shift. Open, 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 open. Think of the hip bones like if I came behind you and I just pushed your glutes forward a little bit. If you're not breathing, you're really concentrating, take a full breath here. Good. Now use your left arm and the left obliques to right yourself and come back up. Counter pose, hands to the floor, head down. Soften everything. And again, I'm telling you where to go, but you take these little movements. So maybe there's a shift side to side. There's some stretching with your arms. It's going to be like more juicy, more beneficial for you. All right, friends, let's come back up. All right, let's see if you can reach back for both. So I'm going to put the block between my feet, all right, so that it can be a place where I reach back. That's not going to work for most of you. Okay, tuck your toes. I lied. Put the block between your feet and tuck your toes so your feet are on either side and your heels are up. If you've got toe issues and that's not good for you, then just don't do that. You're just going to keep your hands on your hips, most likely, or reach for the block. Bring your knees in a little bit closer underneath your hips if they're out wide. All right, good. We're going to take hips forward, left arm back and around. Let me see if you can reach your heel here. Good. All right. For some of you, you're going to also be able to take your right arm back and around. Some of you are just going to have right arm up, but you're further away here because you've got your left arm back. Some of you are not going to take your right arm back because that's too much, so don't do that. If you have both, now squeeze your shoulder blades together, drop your head. If you have one, push your hips forward, lift through your chest. You've come a long way. Good. Breathing here, breathing, reaching. Excellent. So good for your back. Okay, we're going in phases. Now suck it in, tummy tight. Come back up through center. Good. And relax your feet. Take that counter posture, lower down. We got one more.
Yeah.
All right, so my friends who want to try full camel, look at me for a sec. You're going to take the block away. Feet are going to stay on the floor this time. So you always have the option to elevate your heels by tucking your toes. But if you want to try full camel, you've got to externally rotate your arm bones. So what does that mean? It means they can't be going forward or you can't get back there. You've got to externally rotate your arm bones to reach back for your heels and press forward. So if you're doing full camel, go there now. I'm going to walk us through going through the other side. So block is between our feet. Let's take our right arm up and over and catch the heel on the lifted foot. Tuck my toes and then reach for that right heel, left arm up. Some of you might take your left arm all the way back or just reach up. Be mindful if you've got toe issues, you're not like putting 100% of your body weight into the toe, all right? Let your body do some of the work lifting here. Just relax your feet, Susan. You're good. Mindful for your back. Do you guys feel this through the fronts of your legs?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And my back.
Okay, come back through center and your back. Yes, come back through center mindfully. Here's our full child's pose, all right? Toes to touch, knees out wide, drop your head to the floor, full child's pose. Good. There you go. That's nice. That's right, Alana. That is nice. Knees out wide, forehead to the floor. Take your full child's pose. Reach your fingertips forward. Good. Keep your chest down low as you thread your right arm underneath your left elbow. So sometimes we do this from more of a tabletop position. This time I want you to do it like you're just trying to slide your right arm like under the fence. So slide your right arm in this little space, really dropping down low to the floor. Right hand is open up towards the sky, left palm grounded, all 5 fingers on the floor. Find your breath here. Gently undo your right arm. Drop back into your child's pose. I'm okay if your hips are up a little bit because I want you to really get the opening through your chest. So try to think about widening your arms a bit, like you're pressing your armpits down, and now slide that left arm under that little space, like you're trying to get your arm underneath a little hole in the bottom of the fence. For me, because my legs are tight from yesterday, and because I'm really pushing my chest down, I feel this a lot in my inner thighs, like that hip space and inside of the legs. Reach through your left hand. Make sure your right hand has full contact with the mat. So even when you're here, like you're checked in from the fingertips of both hands. Close your mouth, breathe. Good. Come back up through center. Hands and knees. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Let's take time to soften here in your downward facing dog. And while you've got blood rushing to your head, because this is an inversion, you get some benefit of that. I ask you to think about what your legacy for 2021 is going to be. In the United States right now, there's like all this talk about political changes and, you know, the impressions that are made by people in certain positions. They're in a high place of visibility. You probably are not, but what is your legacy this year? If you have not decided, then it's not going to happen. So just start to chew on that. What is going to be your legacy in 2021? And if it's just to survive, let's open up. Let's be a little bit bigger than that this year, all right? You survived 2020. You are allowed to actually have an intention in 2021. Make your feet Gently walk up to your hands when you're ready. Grab your block, anchor down here, and find a big forward fold. Your legacy doesn't have to be something that the whole rest of the world sees. Your legacy might be that you do a really good job keeping someone else alive and well. Bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. Option to use the block underneath your right hand. Let's go slow. Push your left hip back, peel your left shoulder to a full stack, then draw your hand up towards the sky. Right, so the deepest revolve twist you've had in a while, really nice and open here. Your whole left foot pushing into the ground, reach through your hand. Now take that left arm going back, 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 back. Good.
Ouch.
All right, now coming out as slowly as you went in, soften, soften. Your legs start to neutralize. Come to your forward fold and fold. Some of you might want to slide the soles, your palms of your hands under the soles of your feet. Some of you might want to grab for your ankles or the backs of your legs and just enjoy that fold. Good, Linda. Look at your forward fold, Linda. You go. Pull your chin through your chest as much as you can. Take your elbows out no matter where they are. Good. Kind of move through a flat back with whatever your grip is, then release where your hands are. And let's go to the other side. Straighten your right leg. Weights back in your heels. Bend your left knee. Move in progression. So this right hip rotates up. Right shoulder rotates up. Now you're in a line with your right ribs facing the ceiling, and you can peel your right arm straight up so you become a straight line wrist to wrist, really pushing back into your right heel. Now if I put my hand on your hand and I started to just gently push you back, push you back, push you back, open. Don't fall over, your left knee is bent. Physics. Breathe here. All right, gently, gently come back down. Find your forward fold. Deep forward fold again. Maybe grabbing opposite elbow. Maybe doing that Padottanasana again, which is soles of your feet on top of the palms of your hands. Sliding under fold. Wherever you are, see if you can find a flat back. And then release. And let's stand all the way up. Oh, that's better, isn't it? My goodness. Shake it out here. Stand in your Tadasana. Open your eyes and see what's in front of you. The chances are you've been on your mat before, and whatever you're looking at is something you've seen a lot of times in the last few months. Set your gaze, lift your chin. Remember this moment. This is the moment that you decided to have a legacy in 2021. You're going to do something more than just get through the days. Drop your shoulders down and back. Inhale, reach your arms up. Big mountain pose. Reach all the way up to the ceiling. Lift through your ribs, ground through your heels. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Good. Exhale, step back to your high plank or modified plank. As slow as you'd like. Lower all the way down, belly to the mat. If you want to practice that chaturanga, look at me. I'm pushing forward with my toes over underneath my heels. Squeeze elbows in to lower. Okay, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And we all go all the way down. Good job. Relax your feet. Pull your hands back just a little bit and gently and slowly make your way all the way up to an upward facing dog. So your back is already warmed up here because we did those camel poses on our knees.
Oh,
However, if this feels like too much, you don't have to go all the way up. All right, you can just stay with your arms on the floor. That's nice, Ruth. Good. All right, let's lower chin all the way back down to the floor. Control the negative. Hug your elbows in. Go nice and slow. Very good, very good. All the way. Good, Linda. All the way to the floor. Good, Susan. Excellent job. And then pushing yourself back through hands and knees to your downward facing dog. Pedal it out here. Option to drop your left knee as we go to a one leg down dog, right leg comes up. So here's what one option looks like. The other option is knee down, and you can just play with lifting up through that leg. All right, so one leg up. With the leg that's lifted, that's your right leg. Circle out your ankle. Feel free to bend your knee. Circle out your hip. Find some movement in that leg. All right, friends, belly tight, square it up. We're all gonna step right foot to right hand.
oh, not it.
Get long, yep, you know what's coming. Drop your back knee.
Oh,
Okay, before you go to lizard, let's open through your left hip flexor. So right foot on the floor, reach your arms up and then goal post as you really push your hips forward.
oh,
So you gotta have space between your left thigh and your right knee to go forward. So some of you might need to take your right foot forward more and then go here. Good. I invite you to feel like this left leg, like, okay, there's no way it could go forward anymore. Like this left hip flexor is like, whoop. Shoulders back, chin up, open, open, open. And lizard pose. Here we go. Hands to the floor. Walk your right foot out towards the right edge of your mat. Your hands might be on the block. Both hands inside of your right leg. So Ruth, bring your right arm inside your right leg. Yep. And taking your left knee back. You're here, or see if you can start to soften. Elbows to the block.
oh,
Elbows to the floor.
oh,
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It's just an invitation.
Oh, yeah.
It's the power of suggestion.
It's like I'm not invited.
You're on the other side of the window watching the little kids do it, huh?
Right.
All right. Well, the good news is you're already on the floor and you're going to stay here for a second.
Not on the floor.
Oh. You're good, Chris. You're pretty impressive.
Oh,
All right, we're right here. Now, some of you might want to take your right hand, put it on the inside of your right knee. You could have your left hand on the block to do this and kind of roll over the right foot onto the right pinky toe side and just take this little gentle twist. You get a little bit more opening through your inner thigh that way. Some of you might be real happy with this intensity of the hip flexor and just stay down here in your lizard. And some of you are not happy at all, but we'll move on in a sec. So just stay with me. Yeah. Okay. Coming out. Ready? Straighten out your front leg.
right. Right.
All right. Nice stretch through your right leg. Dropping your hip bones back, using your hands on the block. That's level step 1. If you want more, you can always slide this right foot forward. Use the block maybe underneath your thigh, and you just get like a little bit more of a straight leg. All right, that's just an option. Some of you
Toes
have
up, Christy.
toes are up. Yep, right foot, toes are up.
Oh, Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Chris, if you start doing the splits, I'm like, I don't
No.
know. I'm gonna call yoga a big success.
Aren't goalies supposed to be able to do the splits?
What's yeah?
Goalies
Sure.
can do the splits.
When you're like
Hockey
20.
goalies do the splits. Come on, Chris, you're only 22.
Oh, I wish.
×3.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, bring your right foot in. We're going to pigeon. Here it goes. Walk your right foot across.
You're really torturing me today.
Right
aren't you?
knee
Yeah.
to right wrist.
I feel like this practice
You-
is Chris torture.
Oh, oh,
You're going to be a noodle at the end. Right
oh.
hip is supported, friends. So look, this right
are
knee
dead.
goes to the right wrist. And Ruth, look at me. Right hip is lifted. Okay? So then I use my block underneath that hip before I can just relax elbows to the floor.
Oh, oh.
The left foot is back, right knee bent,
Oh,
and the hip is kind of underneath. I mean, the block is underneath your right butt cheek. Good. All right. And now fold forward. There you go. Good. Some of you have like a big mean look on your face and tension between your shoulders and your ears. Let's like adjust that. So elbows come out wide. Soften your face more towards the floor. Close your mouth, soften your jaw. Think about how right now in this pigeon pose, you're opening lots of parts of your body. So you're opening through this right quad, the big muscle of your right leg, through the hip, through your low back. And if you allow yourself, you can open through your shoulders as well by taking your elbows a little wide.
oh.
Breathe here. Good. All right, come back out.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Come out. Take your time. We're going to downward facing dog. So work out your right leg.
No.
Some blood flowing back through your hips. Pedal it out here in your downward facing dog. Shake your head side to side. Press opposite knee to the floor. Very good. Breathe here. All right. Shift forward to your high plank. As slow as you'd like, as quick as you'd like, we're lowering to the floor. So take your time. Lowering all the way down till your feet rest, toes rest on the floor, chin to the floor. Scoot your hands back just a little bit more, and then slowly lift your chest. You can take a full upward dog. You can take a modified upward dog. You could take a Sphinx pose with your elbows bent. Wherever you are, I want you to look down and make sure that your shoulders line up to your elbows. If your hands are too far forward and your shoulders are not lining up with your elbows, just adjust, bring them back a little bit. Right? So you get shoulders lined up with elbows. Good. Good. I like seeing you guys figuring that out. That's your good muscle memory for your own body right here. Now turn that antecubital space forward in your arms, rotating your arm bones back and down. Good. That's the part where they draw blood on your elbow and your middle of your arm. Good. Excellent job. Let's lower all the way down, hugging the upper arms in tight. Lower all the way back down to the floor. Very nice. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, go through your hands and knees, kind of like a quick child's pose here before you go to your downward facing dog.
Oh.
Good. Push your chest back towards your thighs in your down dog. So you can bend the knees a little bit and then think about like your belly button is going to make contact with your ribs. And that really, yes, widens your arm bones, brings your chest and your ears more in line with your upper arms. Good. Breathe. Very nice. Left foot is going forward to left hand. You can drop your right knee to get there. All right, we'll start in our low lunge. All right, scooting your left foot forward. See how my knee is back? And so now I've got room to bring it forward to try to get it to line up. All right, so I start with that, my hips kind of back, left foot forward. Now when I lunge, I can have that space. Take your arms up and goal post your elbows. Draw your shoulder blades back. Open up here. Even when we're moving slow and you feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm getting any stronger by doing this, you are, because you are creating tone. You are holding yourself in a space, all right? Like you imagine that you had something very stiff, like silly putty, and you like kind of formed it into a shape, and then you found a stretch, and then you held it in that space. You're helping to create length and tone. So we're not overstretching. You're finding the stability, skin to muscle to bone here, really hugging in. Maybe some of you lift your chin, draw your shoulder blades together, really push back. And lizard pose. Bring your hands to the floor.
Wait, runner stretch.
Runner stretch after lizard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Trust me, you'll see why, because you'll be like, oh, thank heavens you get to straighten that leg out. Bring your right knee back a little bit. Thank you, Nicole.
Sorry.
And bring your elbow, you're good. And bring your elbows right to your block or to the floor.
Oh.
Good. You guys look great.
Oh, I don't feel great.
You don't feel great? You look great. Ruth, take your right knee back a little bit. So instead of being more under your body, scoot it back. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Feel the difference in that? Yeah. All right, before you go any further, just soften here. You use your block. You got different levels of your block for your elbows.
Oh. Oh.
All right, some of you might like to plant your right hand on the block or the floor. This is just an option. Put your left hand on your knee. Roll over onto the pinky toe blade edge. Good. Pull your left shoulder back. Really nice, McCartney. Breathe here. All right, now you put your foot down. Here's your hamstring stretch. Straighten out your left leg and lift up your toes.
That's right.
It's a relief for your right hip, really, that hip flexor. So, okay, some of you might be sliding your left foot forward. Some of you might just stay with your hips pulling back. Use your block. Good. Nice, Alana. All right, soften here. No mean faces, right?
Oh.
Takes a little grit.
Oh, a little
Set
what?
an intention, doesn't it? Takes some grit to set intentions and work through them. You know, even to be still, it takes some grit. All right, you're here for about one more full breath in, full breath out. And then you're going to carefully bring your left foot back underneath you. Walk your left foot over to the right hand. Drop your left knee to your left wrist. So you're setting yourself up for pigeon. Left foot is bent, right foot is back. My legs are matching my mat today, so I'm sorry.
Oh.
Need my pink pants.
Oh.
All right. Yep. So look, right hip or left hip is lifted, so the block goes underneath the left butt cheek,
Oh.
and your back leg, see that back leg is straight back. Now you fold forward. Ruth, let me put, look at me, let me put myself on the white floor so you can see better. Hold on.
Oh. Oh.
So left knee bent, drop to the wrist, right leg back. Okay. And then I fold forward, putting the block underneath that hip space, underneath the left hip.
Yeah, I'll keep it here.
There you go. Good. There you go. Very nice. You're in your little cocoon. This is a great opportunity for you to just start to open the box, to look inside, to see what great things are in store for you this year. Do not believe that that box is full of suffering. The suffering is inevitable in our lives. The perception that we have about it is under our control. So open that box, peek inside. You can start to choose how you arrange the months ahead. Take breath.
Oh. Ah.
All right, we've got a little time for your transition. So if you want to take a breath or two more in pigeon, you can stay here. If you're done, then you're going to move that block, work your way up and back to your downward facing dog. So that you can then work some life back into your left leg, maybe pick it up, circle it out.
Oh,
Oh. Ouch. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Big stretches here, pedal it out, work it out.
Oh. Oh.
All right, friends, and we're all going to make our way to the top of the mat. Standing up. All right, our quads are all stretched out. Our back is all stretched out. So here's the pinnacle of your pose, of your practice, all right? Look at me. This is called sugar cane. You're going to have, kind of like you do half moon, right hand goes to the floor, left foot up. This is step one, all right? So some of you are just going to practice being here, all right? Some of you are going to take right hand to the block, bend your left knee, catch your left foot. Please do not fall over and crash into the floor, all right? Let go before you go here, and then lift. Some of you are going to get here and then float your bottom hand, okay?
Yeah. Right.
So you got lots of options. Stand at the top of your mat. Look, the block is in front of you, okay? Option one, step your right foot forward a little bit. Bring your hand down to the block. The weight shifts into your right foot, right hand, and you just practice lifting your left leg, trying to find that good strong line between your shoulder and your wrist. All right, so you need to have the block. Yeah, your gaze is kind of to the side, like to your left.
Oh.
And you need to have the block a good ways in front of your right foot, or otherwise you're kind of like going too far down, teeter-tottering. All right, good, Ruth, that's it. Okay, now you are going to progress. So come out, good. That's it, Real. And you're going to go to sugar cane, which is right hand to the block, catching left foot in your left hand. All right. Remember the first time I did flip dog, you guys thought I was nuts. So just be willing to like go little baby steps. All right. You don't have to do it all today because this is not the last day you're going to do yoga. Good. All right. And then your goal will be eventually to float your bottom hand.
Yeah.
With strong
Goals.
legs, gotta have goals. Goals, goals, hashtag goals. Good. All right, we're playing with that on that leg a little bit.
No. Love
All right, and then we're gonna go to the other side.
it.
That was coming too.
So shift it out. All right, I'm gonna face the other way. Block is out in front of my left foot. Take a little step forward with your left foot and then bring your left hand to the block. Check in, you need to have a stack of shoulder, elbow, wrist, and then start to lift your your right leg. This is step one, okay, is just finding that length. So you're practicing that, all right? So much good happening in your brain by teaching yourself to stand on one leg. So the neurologic implications when you do this, they're great, beyond what's happening in your body, because your body has to compensate. Now, if you want to try, you're going to bend your right knee, grab for your right heel. Some of you might find one side is a lot better than the other. One might be a lot. That means the other one is not.
I was doing fine.
You were doing fine, all right?
I was.
And then we're going to
Ah.
play with your balance. All right,
Ah. Ouch.
Chris.
And down he
Chris, are you
goes.
okay? And down. Chris, are you okay?
I think I just pulled my thumb.
Okay, I'm sorry. Stay down there. We're almost done, Chris. Stay down. All right. Good, Susan. When you're done here, so you don't have to do everything the first day, right? We're just progressing, but being steady on the one leg first, right? All right. And then when you're done, bring your right foot down. And let's cross our ankles and come all the way down to the floor. Okay. That was your pinnacle pose. Roll onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Good work. Roll a little bit side to side. You're in a controlled challenge, right? So there are lots of things that show up in your life that you don't expect, that are very hard. We deal with them differently, but right today you're in this controlled challenge, able to lean in and back out. Take happy baby, grab for the outsides of your feet. One or both, bending your knees. Take your feet up towards the sky, bend your knees, pulling towards your armpits. Feet are spread out wide, good. Rocking a little bit, all the way side to side. Good, release your feet, put your feet on the floor. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh like you were gonna do reclined pigeon, but we're just setting up to then drop both knees to the right. So I did a figure 4 with the legs and then drop both knees to the right so that your right ankle kind of helps push down your left knee.
Oh.
And good, take your left arm out to the side. Let your gaze fall over to the left. Find your center alignment even without moving. So just thinking about bringing all of your energies back to your center, all of your thoughts back to your center. So for the rest of this day, you feel not like you're not sure which way to go, but that you have a clear lane. Whatever that choice is of what's ahead for you. Good. Bring your knees back up to center. Uncross. Good. And go the other way. Cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Turn your gaze over to the right and drop your knees to the left. Oh. I like to extend my right hand. Nice deep breath. When you're ready, bring both knees back up to center. Let your legs go out long and take a nice big stretch, fingers to toes. Soften your elbows. Maybe you take your hands up above your head, just softening your arms to the floor. Maybe you take them along your sides. Maybe for your deep rest, you'd like to have your legs up, resting your legs up the wall or against a piece of furniture. Whatever you'd like, just go ahead and set your body up in that position. If you have an eye pillow or eye covering, start bringing it to class because this is what it's for, to put over your eyes right now and block out the light. Giving you that moment of sensory deprivation where you can really just be very quiet and still. Remember, friends, to see the beauty of a snowflake, you have to go outside and stand in the cold. So being fully willing to be in your experience, even when it's challenging or not that comfortable. You did well today. Bring some movement to your wrists. Open and close your eyes. Maybe wiggle your toes. Take your time as you roll over to your side and make your way up to a seat. Okay, bring your hands together at heart center. Bringing gratitude today for your body, for the health that you do have, for the flexibility that you do have, for the courage and the strength that you do have. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
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 Oh.